Okay. Just everyone, please bear. Hi, everyone. I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I'd like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube. I am Spirit to Spirit Teachings of Going Within Self, and on my TikTok channel, 1974 Enlightened Soul. And I'm also live on my Facebook. Today, I'm talking about, if any of you are familiar with the Bouteiller brothers trial in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia in 1791. I'm going to talk about that today. Okay. Okay. Just if you all could bear with me for just one moment, that's totally awesome. I know I should have had this ready, but you know. I hope I didn't just swallow a bug and didn't see it. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to welcome you in. I usually suggest for people to go watch or go read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit Teachings of Going Within Self, in order to get a better understanding of what my channel is about. Now, I know that some may be messing with my algorithms because some don't want this to get out there. And that's okay. Okay. Because I understand that I'm going on like the two parallels, like everything, like what happens in one happens in another, but it's like differently. So that's kind of like the war between the two. The reason I am talking about this, first off, I don't know if I can find it. Okay, I should have had it. I know I'm very disorganized at the moment. But the thing is, I know that like people may not believe in time travelers and spirit entities and things like that, and sometimes walking from the physical world to the spirit world, and to the spirit world into the physical world. Well, I do both. I walk within the physical world and I walk within the spirit world. A lot of time I'm working within the spirit world because the spirits are seeking assistance from all of us. Okay. We are the mediums. It's not about really understanding the language, because this is my channel is a spirit to spirit. Okay. And when I say spirit to spirit, when I'm speaking, no spirits know who I'm talking to. So if you're having a reaction to what I'm saying, whether it be a good one or a bad one, whether it makes you cry, laugh, or pisses you off, makes you angry, or you just want to slap me inside my head, or what have you, then you're experiencing it for a reason, because there's a part of your spirit that is connected to that, because everything is in the now. So you are connected to it, whether it be like it being yourself or someone that would have been a part of your ancestry, which you feel it all. And I know that gets confusing. Yes. Okay. Okay. So first off, before I get started, just to like save everyone a little bit of trouble from like feeling like they have to go read my description in order to understand what it is that I'm bringing forward, I'm going to read it for you. I know that there are, like I said, ones that are coming into my home, and they're taking paperwork that I've already had done. So if they actually think that I don't know that, I'm very well aware of it because I had it in front of me and then it took it. So I know I'm going back and forth. So if you're a historian, okay, because I have a book here, okay, it was in July when I actually started looking into my ancestral line, okay, and then I went to a tour in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. And they started talking about the bouteiller brothers, the hanging of the bouteiller brothers. Okay. But I had already known by looking in my genealogy line that through my 7th great Grammy and great granddaddy, I am related to the bouteiller brothers. My 7th great Grammy is their aunt. So if TikTok or YouTube or any other like platform or any other entity that wants to try to suppress me from bringing this through, it doesn't matter. It's already been heard. And it's that part of like connecting the dots. That's why I say in some of my videos, it's the part of going in and looking into your own ancestry line before you throw shit or shade at somebody else's. Okay, because I know that like things went on both parallel worlds. Okay, because I'm seeing it. I'm reading this book and they're like parts of it don't make sense. I'm connecting the dots. Okay, something that a lot of historians have been trying to do for quite some time. And I know that you're trying to affect my algorithm. I know that you're trying to shut me down. And it's not to be cocky. It's saying the part of, what do you have to hide? If you had nothing to hide and what you say is true, then why are you trying to stop my algorithms? Why are you trying to stop me from bringing this forward? Because it's the untold stories. It's where manipulation, which creates the injustice. And it's not just for me, it's for all of you too, because you are part of that family. This is the Byzantine side, okay? And I'll tell you right now, by looking at other stuff, except for something that I actually found on another site, they tried leaving my Grampy's family out of it. At least the information that I have. I asked my uncle about, the genealogy line that they have access to, but they don't seem to want to give it to me. But that's okay. I don't need your help. My uncle, he wants to get his find out his genealogy line so he can figure out how much Indian he is so that he can go get his status to rub it in someone's face, because they keep saying that, oh, well, we got ours. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to, yeah, I see that. Read the description of my YouTube channel, if it'll let me, because right now it's like, wanting to screw with me, because, that's what they do. They have control over everything. And it's that part of them wanting to cover their own asses. But that's okay. Because the strange thing is like, it's like in 2 different places, I've been finding things out. Okay. So it's like, Wow. So I do say that, my family might want to watch this because then you can understand why we're always saying we're cursed, we're cursed, we're cursed. And that part of we're cursed, well, we were. So this is my channel. I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I'm here to wake people up to see how we have been treating each other and our earth. I am a unique type of spirit guide. I am a psychic, a medium, a channeler, a telepath, and an empath. I also speak and sign different languages, all of which can be very intense at times. On my channel, I talk about everyday life, the ignorance, greed, hatred, etc. I do it to get people to look within themselves and how we have been acting in life towards ourselves and others, including animals. Some people may not like what I have to say, whereas others may totally understand. Sometimes I may come off not a very spiritual person. However, I ask you to look within and see what spirituality really means. It's the enlightenment, waking up to the truth, the good, bad, and the ugly stuff that we don't like to see about ourselves, about the world, and others. The inner consciousness. Okay, so that's what my channel is about. Now, getting back to this, okay? A lot of things within this book because, see, okay, you have the bootlayer line, okay? I got the bootlayer line, okay? My Grammy was a bootlayer. My 7th grade Grammy was a bootlayer. My 7th grade granddaddy was a Byzantine. Okay? Now, people are wondering what this trial, what really went down. Okay? So I was looking through things and I was asking the questions because I was looking at my own life. Okay? And in so doing, I've been doing a lot of crying, a lot of screaming. I've been furious. Seeing what was done. And I'm not saying that like everybody is in this side or what have you is innocent with regards to everything because not only because I have relatives through my 7th grade my 7th grade Grammy, because there's always talk about like the Marriott family and the Marriott and the Melvin. Well, my 7th grade Grammy, she married a Marriott. And then, well, because of her husband, her first husband, well, second husband, or however many husbands, because, like nothing makes sense. The only thing that makes sense is everything that I've looked into does come back that she was married to my 7th grade granddaddy on the Byzantine side. So for historians, and people of Lunenburg and what have you, because I actually went there and I went to a place where they did the genealogy, a couple places. I even went into museums because it left me quite confused, because the first place where I went with regards to the genealogy, I told them about my granddaddy, my 7th grade granddaddy, and they heard about it. They knew about the story because it was my 7th grade granddaddy who was scalped in the Cornwallis when the immigrants when they immigrated over because the British sent French over to do the dirty. That's when the tunnels over here started getting built because they put my 7th grade granddaddy And my Grammy and his first wife, which I believe she was my Grammy's sister, they put them on George's Island and have a list of who came over. Well, this here goes back quite a ways. My great granddad, my seventh great granddaddy, they started building the tunnels on George's Island. Okay. Are any of you really aware of how many fucking tunnels there are in Nova Scotia and all over Canada? Because it's not just the ones that they say about. And I know that like they're affecting my algorithms right now, but that's okay. I wear this because, maybe not, maybe they're not the ones. But were they actually guilty? Or was there foul play? And was there a conflict of interest within the trial? Well, records, things that I've looked into, and I'm bringing it forward, and it's okay. I'm right here. There was a lot of injustice. The jury can be connected with not only some family members of different people involved. There's a lot more to it. They're also connected on the lands. One precise one being Oak Island. They have a lot of stuff. People are watching The Curse of Oak Island. But The Curse of Oak Island, they're getting all this information. I'll even, like, ¿qué es esto, eh? ¿Qué salam? I'm not going to do much. Like I'm seeing in the book here, it says that the one that married my great Grammy. Okay. Well, in a lot of it, because at that time they were going in and people were changing their names and birth dates were changed and everything like that. When I was looking, it was like, what a mind fuck. Because you're trying to differentiate. And in my great Grammy's family, it was like, oh no. Yeah. Let's see. There was 1, 2, 3 of the children left out. In Jean George Boutelier's family tree in the book. And it just so happens that it's saying that another one of them died the same day of the Boutelier brothers. But they were said in the trial there were only 2. So what happened to the other Boutelier brother? I've been putting my own life together in order to understand it. And I can relate to this whole story because it feels like I've lived it. As a different character. But see, my dad, he'll say, well, why, like, why do you care? They're not family. It's like, Dad, whether they're my first cousin or my second cousin, we're all family. And there shouldn't be any injustice on on either side. Okay? It's the part of looking at stuff by having an open eye. And I know that they're trying to cut me off so bad from getting this out there because it is big. It is something that historians have been trying to figure out for decades, maybe even a couple centuries. Maybe some were even trying to figure out how to find out if there was if they were innocent. Maybe they were guilty on one side, maybe they were innocent on the other side. Or maybe it was a manipulation within the system. Maybe things were being brought to light, but I know a lot of it was over land. Pretty sure my seventh great granddaddy was killed because of land. Because the guy that was killed, the guy that was murdered in 1758, he was actually on the Indian Patrol. He was, what did they say he was? Which in the book, it says that his father had a different name than what I have here, and everything else that I ever looked into had the name that I have, and didn't have the name in the book. But I guess I'm telling my story on my side. And on theirs, because you know what? The man that was murdered, said to be murdered, was actually the godfather of the Bouteiller brothers. Which the grandfather, okay, I'll read off some wills. John George Bouteiller, okay, he was the John George Bouteiller that was born in 17. It says here 1720. Yes, 17 round about 1729. Okay, and he was the father of the Bouteiller brothers. See, this is when he wrote his will. And it was the same year. It was 2 months after he wrote his will, he died. Okay. So now in his will, you have it there? Yep. In his will, it says 1784, will of John George Bouteiller, dated 9th March 1784. Probate May 24th, 1784. Lunenburg. Has the number. Executive. Beloved wife. Has Catherine. Okay. You got it. And her name was it has Catherine. Okay. A witness. And one of the witnesses to his will happens to be one of the jurors. He left 30 acres to his son, one of his sons. He left another 30 acres to another son, and this was on in Lunenburg. He left another 30-acre lot to another son. Same area. Just read the will. I give to my eldest son, Frederick, 30-acre lot number 26, Northwest Range, letter A, and one town lot in Strasburger Division, letter E12, and also 35 acres of his 300-acre lot, letter F6, in 2nd Division. Second son, George, the 30-acre lot number 25, Northwest Range. Okay, first off, this gets really confusing. Okay, so in here, the one that they don't have written in the book, the one that died the same time that the Bouteiller brothers were hung, they don't have them in the book, but somehow it's in the will. I give to John, Jacques, and George Frederick together the 30-acre lot, Northwest Range, and to each of them the said 35 acres from the said 300 lot letter F6 subdivision, 2nd Division. Okay, and then they have there's 3 of the kids that weren't in the book. Okay, in the book, with regards to my Great Grammy, who she married, there's no name in there. They don't have my great granddaddy's name. And I went and I looked. She married 3 people. Her first husband was in France, and he died in 1752. Okay? They're saying that this guy, he was born in 1714 in around about the same place as my 7th great granddaddy was. He died in Lunenburg, and it said that he died in 55. Well, 55, that was basically right around the same time that my 7th great granddaddy was scalped. So it's a part of figuring things out. You know, if you really want to come in and you want to be ignorant and rude to me, saying what's your point? Are you my ex-husband? Because I'll tell you right now, it's like they say, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And that's okay. I just feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for anyone who's trying to suppress people who just want the truth. It's not about making somebody else's family pay for it because you didn't do it, but if you were part of covering it up and you knew, what I didn't know is that my 6th great granddaddy died close to where I live right now. He died 20 minutes away. So I've been going back and forth trying to figure out this fucking smozzle of a mess. Because I believe that the Bouteiller brothers were innocent and they were framed. Somebody just said, where's your proof? Where was the actual proof in the bouteiller brothers besides saying you found a fruit, you found some sticks, and you speculated that they beat him? I'll tell you right now, it's pretty fucked up, but I believe that the brother that's not in the book, I believe that he had a relationship going with the guy that was said to have been murdered, because the granddaughter was murdered too. And I believe that the bouteiller brother that they don't say about in the book, I believe that he was having some kind of a relationship with her and she became pregnant. This is, this is what I'm observing when I look at my own life, because it's that part. And like you say about circumstantial, well, everything in that trial was circumstantial. They said that they didn't even find the body, they found the clothes, and then they found the shoe print, the prints. Well, he could have planted that himself, killed the brother, had the blood of the brother there, and put the brother in the burning house because maybe his wife and granddaughter posed a threat to him. If everybody else is allowed to speculate on my great Grammy's nephews, it's like the family wears it. That's the ancestral stuff. But see, in the trial, they're saying that they died in Lunenburg. But when I look in other stuff, it said they died 20 minutes away from where I live, roughly. And the ironic thing is that, a friend of a girl, someone I know, it's like they said about a fire in a house. So it's like the two parallel worlds. And they're kind of mixing in, but it doesn't matter what part you look at. It's the same names. It comes back to the Boulers, Besancons, and his family. And my 7th grade granddaddy, well, he came over at the same time on the same ship as the man that was said to be murdered. And see, in my 6th grade granddaddy's will, it has certain names. This is speculation, but you've heard the song "The Night's Lights Went Out in Georgia." Well, I'm here to tell you that judge, he was the probate judge for my great granddaddy's property. Will. My 6th great granddaddy. The one who I believe was, he had a religious seal. Was he stepping forward to expose the truth and he got thrown over a balcony? Because, they did find bones on Oak Island in 2019, from what I understand. Jean, yeah, it's okay. Jean Jacques Jacob Besancon was also known as John James Besancon, which he had property on Oak Island. And, he had deeds to not just one property. He couldn't read or write either. So it was said. He couldn't read or write. He was born in 1754 at Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. He was baptized in a church in Halifax. I'm going to get to She was 18. He left his will on May 20th, 1800. He died in 1806 at Middle River. Now, I have his will right here. Will of John George James Besançon of Chester has the number, dated May 20th, 1800, probated March 9th, 1804 at Lunenburg by John Crichton. He was actually the judge in the bouteiller trial. Judge of probate. Executors, and I will say them: Anthony Vaughan, Peter Corkum. Witness, Anthony Vaughan, John Proscott, and Joseph Dimock. And according to the records, it's Joseph was actually a reverend. So I know they're trying to cut me off because, you know, behalf to my loving wife, Anne Mary, which is Catherine, aka Catherine, the use of 1/3 of all my real estate, with all the privileges and appropriation thereto belonging, while she lives, and likewise the free use of the house and lot on which I now live, with the use of the meadow up at Stillwater, while she lives and remains my widow. And if she marries a man that can agree with my children, and they with him, he shall with her share in all the above I can't pronounce the word, DEMISED privileges. But if they cannot agree together, he shall leave the house, but the improvement of 1/3 of my real estate shall be her dowry while she lives. After my youngest child is of age, the lot on which I now live may be left to either of my sons, with whom she chooses to live, but still she shall have the government of the place. I give in behalf unto my beloved son. Here, read it in this, because you have it highlighted. Which one is it? Yeah, they come in and took it. Yep. Oh, no, here. No. Well, that is a fucking stickler in a hen house. I must say, you're not going to let me expose you, hey? Yeah, because I had it all right here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I know. There she has it all. You know, I must say that's pretty fucking sad. It's really sad that you have to do that. You know, you say you want me to sort it out, but you don't want me to sort it out. And this is a spirit to spirit. Oh, I know they did. Because there it is. Okay. Huh. Read it. I give and behealth unto my well-beloved son, Joseph, all the land and lands I have possessed on Oak Island. This township, likewise, an equal share with each of his brothers, hereafter named, in the 500-acre lot 1, Drangeld, I can't pronounce that word, Draugh, what have you, in this township to him and his heirs, and assessed forever, forever. Forever to me means that it can't be sold and no one can take it away. But somehow it was taken. Likewise, what he stands indebted to me, he shall be discharged of at my death. I give in behalf to my well-beloved sons, Alex, which is on both my mom and my granddaddy, or on my mom's side. He is my 5th great granddaddy, Alex is. And then to John, Gibbon, John and Casper, John, William, Peter, and Benjamin. To each of them an equal share of all the estate, real and personal. I stand possessed of not other ways disposed of. Stand possessed of not other ways disposed of in this my last will and testament to them, their heirs, and assigns forever. Forever to me, has anybody ever heard of an allodial deed? Seriously. Because, you know, they said that we come and we did a lot of damage to the indigenous people, but we were indigenous, the bootlayers and Byzantines, they were actually French Indians. But, you know, some people will take offense to me saying that because they say that, oh, well, you guys come in and you guys did this. My 7th great granddaddy, through his first wife, 2 of his children were killed from obtaining milk from the Acadians. Okay, I'm seeing it from all sides right now. And it's that part. I was at Truth and Reconciliation, and a professor was there. He was like looking at like investigating the property and different artifacts, what have you, and said that some of us we fake. I got brought back somewheres where I know that my ancestors before these ones, that goes back to like 10,000 years ago or more. But people won't believe me on that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Great Grammy. Yep. It was like when they were on George's Island, it was my 7th grade granddaddy who put the petition in to get them and everybody else off the island. And it makes me wonder, because I went up to the cemetery or churchyard or however people refer, because I went into the church of, the cemetery where my great granny is. When I grew up where the church and the cemetery were together. So I called it the churchyard. She got offended because I called it the churchyard. Like, seriously? Okay. And my great granddaddy, 7th great granddaddy, it was there in that church that I went upstairs in the balcony. And I was walking. And I was very uneasy. And then all of a sudden it was like I seen somebody being thrown over the balcony. Which I found it really strange because, my great granddaddy, he had a religious seal. Yeah, apparently I did. Okay. Okay. These are the properties. And these names in his will, I can actually attribute to them to closer relatives to ones that were on the jury. Okay, so he had property it was a meadow up at Stillwater. read it. Okay. You can say, it's okay. Is it on? Oh, I'm crying because I'm connected. Oh my gosh, I have snot all over the place. Yeah, I'd be never until I got my shit together to stand up in the room. It's like, holy crap. Jean-Jacques Jacob Besançon was also known as John James Besançon. He was born in 1754 at Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. He was baptized on June 17th, 1754 at St. Paul's Anglican Church, Halifax, Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. She was his wife. Oh, sorry. He married Anna Marie Lay on October 29th, 1776 at Dutch Reformed. She was 18. Left his will on May 20th, 1800. After okay, just go past that. Sorry, we can go past that part. He bought a property off a guy named John. Okay. From Besançons from Nova Scotia. It would appear that after Jean-Jacques Jacob's death, his family remained in the Chester area for about 15 years and possibly did not go their separate ways until after their mother died. Alexander remained in the homestead. He bought out the interest of several of his others. Now, he had two families. And on my grampy's side, when I go down, because my Grammy or my nanny and my grampy, they were actually first cousins. Okay, I got no shame in that, like shit happens, I guess. But it doesn't have his brother in the stuff. I tracked it back. Okay. Okay. He bought out the interest of several of his other shit. Yeah, take that off. Shit. Be off his other siblings. Because I have a shit balls of staples in there. Because they keep putting things together. Okay. Shit. Okay. The career of Jean-Jacques, which aka John, is remarkable. His religious zeal was more than matched by his business acumen. Acumen. I looked that word up one day, and it says about how his father died when he was about a year and 6 months old. He had no schooling and remained illiterate all his life. Yet the land transactions in his name, all property drawn up, witnessed, and signed with his far outnumber those of any other man in the settlement and make up a large portion of a certain book of the land records kept in such a place. He also ran a lumber mill and a grist mill, farmed, and engaged in shipbuilding. But yet, with regards to the shipbuilding, his name's nowheres. It's someone else's family. Had made several moves, the final one being to the homestead at Middle River, just beyond, like, oh, you know what to say. In 1791 tax records, his address is given as the Islands. And he paid 5 shin tax, the highest. Now, okay, clue into that. I said about land, so it would be land and money, okay? $1791. Has anybody realized that? I said the Lunenburg trial for the bouteiller brothers murdering somebody was in 1791, the same time of his my sixth great granddaddy's tax records. And this would the bouteiller brothers would have been his first cousins. The highest. So he was the richest. I won't say the richest. Okay. I'm going to get into that. As the islands, he paid 5, the highest. At his death, he owned property on Oak Island, Gooseberry Island, Mark Island, as well. It's 20 other lots varying from 4A to 500A, several of the 4A lots being in Chester. Now, we come from Chester because now a lot of the Byzantines are saying that they're from New Chester. Like a leak, it isn't like Little Liscombe. Is there not a Little Liscombe? Because they were putting us everywhere. And that's why I said the other day about, like, with regards to the residential schools, saying that he couldn't read or write, and we were French Indians. We were all put in because they were marrying each other. It's looking into the genealogy line and being able to cross-reference, look at see it in the book, and then just kind of cross-reference, because, like I said, they've changed dates and names. He made a good marriage with his wife. Oh, his wife was the daughter of Jacob Loy, a German-speaking Swiss. In his early businesses, Jean-Jacques was associated with her brother Alexander. None of JJ's 11 sons equaled his achievement. JJ means John, or means Jean Jack John. How are you? I hope he wasn't insulting his sons, but I mean, like, more advanced, I guess. But don't anyone take insult to that, because I'm doing this and I had a grade 8. I took my paralegal. I got a certificate, not a diploma, because I failed Excel and some kind of typing thing. But then I went on and I got 6 courses to get my mediation, negotiation, conflict resolution, and my presentation and development. Right now, you'd look at this and it'd be, what the fuck? Where's your presentation here? But I organize it at the end. So I would appreciate that everything be returned. His descendant was French. And probably his mother tongue was also French. But Patterson say, that has a number here, Pans M whatever, that inhabitants of France, where they were from, were ethnologically more German than French, having been annexed, annexed, by the latter only a little over half a century before their immigration. This refers to the Montbellard families in general, not specifically to just the Byzantine family. Okay, it's the people of there. They spoke a corrupt dialect of French with a German intonation. From their sufferings which they had endured for their religion after their annexation to France, they had a strong antipathy to the French and Romanist, which was continued among their descendants to this day. In fact, they do not wish to be called French, but speak of themselves as Swiss. But Byzantines thought many generations instead of their French heritage. It is certain that Jean-Jacques spoke German and English as well. Gila tutorial. Simkituko kumahashanikian. Sito? Gila tutorial. No, tu iskreai. Kitotoi. He and Anna May. Oh my gosh, there's Anna May. Yep. Well, it says Anna Mary, but I keep hearing the name Anna May. He and Anna Mary were married in Dutch Reformed Church at Lunenburg. Afterwards, the Presbyterian MG 486, the clergyman, was Bruin Romeke's come and go, who preached and kept records in German for the Germans in his congregations. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah. I can't pronounce it anyway, so This meant a proper spelling. Proper spelling of their name, but it is probably from Cominsko records that the name, it was something else. It was spelt differently and pronounced differently, Bezenkin, something like that, because when they came over here, everybody was more forced to change their names to something that fit more with the English culture. Because, our languages were shut down too because we were snotty little kids, right? Yes, estoy. See, when people can't read or write, people take advantage of others. Began to be spelt with a Z. Byzantium began to be spelt with a Z. However, the land records indicate that Jean Jacques did indeed have papers for the land transactions. All give the spelling with an S, Byzantium with an S. 1792 land petition, unused, not granted. Byzantium John Jacques later moved to Chester with his family, wife, and 8 children. Built a gust mill on Middle River at his own expense, and has also purchased a sawmill and has been at considerable expense in repairing it. Adjacent to said mill, there is a tract of land formerly surveyed to 1 griffin, which tract he always understood was intended for such persons who might erect saw and grist mill. But since his arrival in Halifax, has been informed it is reserved by your, what they say, your excellency, for his majesty used through of material benefit to him and his poor family. This is what it was like, getting an attitude for a second. But since his arrival in Halifax, has informed it is reserved by your excellency, his majesty, material benefit to him and his poor family, recommended by J.W. Schwartz, Halifax, 1752, Wentworth. Refused, saying it was required for his majesty's use. Eventually, from the baptismal records, the first 5 children of Jack, Jean, and Mary, Anna Mary, were born at Lunenburg. The next 4 probably on the islands, or at least some distance from Lunenburg, because of the time that eclipse began birth and baptism. The elapsed. Because of the time that elapsed between birth and baptism. The last 4 were born at Middle River and are recorded in a township records. I was about to go like that. No, we don't lose electronics too much. If you're just coming into my channel or you don't have a freaking clue what's happening, I'm telling my family genealogy and how it connects to the Lunenburg Brutler brothers trial, where they were hung for murder. So said. Whether it was true, well, I mean, they were hung for murder, but whether they murdered someone, that's still questioning in my mind, in my heart. Jean-Jacques made his will before his youngest son was born, which may explain why, on his sudden death, he was declared sudden death in 1806. Okay, sudden death. Didn't I just get done saying, like not too long ago, that I went into a church up in that area and he had a religious seal, and I think that he was going to expose something, and they were all up in the balcony. Think of Lincoln. Think of JFK. Okay. Lincoln, was he not up in a balcony? Okay, he was up in a balcony, and when I was up there, I was uneasy, and like I said earlier, I seen somebody throw somebody over the balcony, and they just said sudden death in 1806. He was declared in a state. Later, Byzantines carried on the shipbuilding business in Chester. But there's no record of them doing it. Okay? It's like, wow. And this is the will of John George Bouteiller. I said he's the father of the Bouteiller brothers, who was tried and hung for murder. They say you always make your way back. It's because it's trying to sort through the shit so that everyone can heal. And I do understand that some people want to get in the middle of it. And that's probably the one who possibly staged their own death, because don't they say like a lot of people are staging their own death? Okay. Now, moving on in here. The murder part. So, in a book, oh shit ass. Okay. In the book, all right, it has in the book, it has Jean S. Monot dit Siri. Okay, it has that name. You probably may not did it right, but born in February 1691. Okay. So you come over here. When you come over here, you see shit. You got it? Yeah. Oh crap. See, I don't know if you can see that, passengers list. So the ones that came over on the ships. Okay, the different ships were the Alderney and Nancy, the Anne, the Gale, Speedwell, Pearl, Murdoch, Speedwell. The first part to Murdoch, that was in 51. Nancy was in 50. Anne was in 50. Gale was in 1751. Speedwell 1751. Pearl 1751. Murdoch 1751. And the Speedwell 1752, Betty 1752, Sally 1752, Pearl 1752, Gale 1752. Okay, so now when I should have is that it? Oh. Crap. I may look disorganized. In some ways, I am a little disorganized, but organized at the same time. You know, Einstein, he was a little disorganized, wasn't he? And, you know, sometimes when you get doing something, are you not like really like organized? That's your Einstein aspect. That's your genius coming out because you are there. It's your pinpointed and you're doing it. Ito mo to dalian. Anyway, holy shit, there's a lot of names. Okay. I'm finding different connections. Okay. Now, when I read these names off, I'm almost certain that the George would be Catherine Boutellier's brother's son. No. I'll figure that out later. But I know it's all connected because my 7th great granddaddy, Jean George Bezanson, he came over. He's the father of the 6th great granddaddy and Catherine Boutelier, the one who is the aunt to the Boutelier brothers, who is my 7th great Grammy. Pretty fucked up. Yep. But aren't we all? That's why I say, like, you know, before you think of somebody else's family as being messed up or fucked up, have a look at your own, because it may look good on the surface, but what lies beneath in the secrets? Why do people behave the way they do? That's the part of figuring out, because that is a huge possibility of what causes us to have the problems that we have physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because we're not only dealing with our own experiences, but we're witnessing the experiences of our ancestors. So Jean George, he was my 7th great granddaddy that got here. He was the one that was scalped in the Cornwallis scalping in I was 55 or 56. And then George Boutelier, which is, oh yes, it would probably be, because Jean George was born in 08 and George was born in 29. Okay. That's 17. And then you have Frederick Eminent. Okay. He's the one that was said to have been murdered. Okay. But when I looked around and I found that Samuel is his father, not what they have written in the book. And I haven't looked that up yet. I'm still working on things. I'm buying shit piles of ink because I'm still old school. I use different things like electronics, but I struggle with having my face in a phone. Sometimes I'll, like on TikTok or something, I will watch people and I'll hear, like, listen to the different stuff of what's happening throughout the realms. So it's like I'm sorting out two things, and in order to sort out your own stuff, it's that part of being able to cross reference, because it's like we have it almost sometimes it feels like we're living in two worlds all at the same time, which we are, and we struggle with it, and everything is just, it's like I said about the mental filing cabinet. It all explodes. So the internet is kind of like the mental filing cabinet, and it's exploded. And it's a matter of sorting through the filing cabinet, and instead of trying to just shove it all back in, it's pick at it and see it. See what it's trying to show you, because it's it's not about, like, with if land, like, okay, how do I explain it? It's not about taking the land back from the people. It's making things right for what was stolen from the people. Because to me, people shouldn't be paying to live. Shit. So Samuel, the father of the man that's said to be murdered, was born February 1691. These people were said in different places, but in the same Billard. And in it, they have the same wife, Geneva Federal. Can't pronounce it right. And it's the same there. She says she was born 1689, died in 1753, and it has that she was born on May 1689. But in this, it has a different wife, and in that's the same as the Bouteiller brothers. Catherine, said to have had a different husband, but yet all of the paperwork shows that my seventh great granddaddy was her husband. I did. I wrote they came on the same ship. Yeah. Yeah. Get away. How good is it? Holy fudge, man. The world we live in, what a complicating place, I must say. Now, I have the information, making like everything varies, but I know I have like other things around because I have a bit of stuff. Okay. So George Frederick, okay, he's the father of Jean Frederick Emery, or Amon. I can't pronounce the last name. If you look up the Bouteiller brothers, you'll know the name that the last name of the man that I'm trying to say, the one that was said to be murdered. Okay. It said the date he was murdered, March 19th, 1791, in Lunenburg. Okay. It said it was said as murder. And I have by who and did he really die? Because, you'll understand when I get a little further because, money can buy you a way to stage your own death, right? Don't they do it all the time? I'm not being rude about it. It's like, why? And did he change it? Did he really die? And did he change his name? And was there a baby and he took it with him? See, I can relate to these things because when I was 15, I got pregnant and it was statutory rape. But I told my mom and dad, if you charge him, I'm running away. I didn't have anything to do with the father. And my parents adopted him. At the same time, it's the best thing I ever did for him. But at the same time, it was like a mistake. He wasn't. Because he was meant to be here, or he wouldn't have been here. So to me, that hit deep because it was like feeling a child taken. But even though you said it was okay, holy shit ass. Your mental filing cabinet doesn't. It ends up getting mixed up, not knowing how to deal with it anymore. See, I can relate to these things, like I said, because the granddaughter was killed in the murder. And so was his wife. So was there an altercation? Did the father of a baby come? Was he murdered? He's not said in the book. He's not mentioned in the book. But he was a brother to the Bootler brothers hung. And it said that he died the same day. But it was like, they said that they were hung in Lunenburg, but died in Middle River. It's those parts of being able to experience the past to see what happened so that you don't continue to do the same thing. Those are the lessons that they teach us. The history lessons of our own place. I said, sorting through the shit. Sorting through the shit and making the shift. But instead of with closed eyes, with all eyes open. His first wife's name was Elizabeth, but couldn't find the last name yet. And Jean Frederick, and then the last name. He was the father of Catherine Elizabeth, who the 14, 15-year-old. And it just so happens that, I was 14 and a half when I got pregnant and 15 when I had the baby. But I'm not saying that that's mine, because, obviously no, but it was a form of it. Witnessing it. It almost feels like in ways it was, because if I was feeling it, then that had to be a part of me that experienced it. And then he married Mary, the one that got murdered with him. I'm like, yeah. George Frederick. No, okay. And he had a daughter, Susanna. And she was born in 1757 and died in 67. It's what it shows here, and I believe it's in stuff that I have. I have a feeling of what happened, because in the book I was reading something. Oh, yes, it was back here. Yeah. I was questioning something. of how she died. They said it was like lupus, maybe something like that. Tuberculosis, thank you, is what it was said. Or maybe it wasn't even said that. But I think back to something that happened. And if I hadn't reacted the way I did, what would have happened? And those are things I question. Especially if I can relate back to the time frame. Okay. Immigrated aboard Speedwell in 1752, a farmer aged 24 from Montbellard with his wife. He was indebted for 2 freights FL151.4.0 and cash lent. I think that's F1, 11.10.0 for a total debt of 162.14. So if anybody knows what freight means. He wrote an uneducated signature, which each letter formed one by one, partly intended to be Faradil, Kusui, is probably meant to be the German nickname found one by one, separately intended to, okay, one by one. Well, shit, I'm reading that over again. For Frederick, namely, I can't pronounce it. He appears on the August to October 70. Shit, man. My brain is just, it's like, he appears on the August-October 1752 Halifax visualizing list, number 5, and on the February-April 53 list. The December 1753 Lunenburg return of arms shows him in Stanford's division. The July 17th, 54 Lunenburg return of division shows him in Strainfort's division, lot E8. He may have at a house. The 1753 for 30-acre farm lot, allotted. Allotment. It says allotment, but I know. List shows with his first Peninsula B2, and in the 54 livestock disperation shows him a married man, and with Abraham Dutor with lot number 168 with 5 sheep, 1 sow, and 1 goat. He is on this June 1755 Lunenburg visualization list with his wife. The February-May 1756 Lunenburg visualization list shows him with his wife and son. What are you doing? His name is listed vertically on the 1756 cattle expedition, and he is shown they appear again on the January, May. Oh, he is shown as private on the 1758 Indian Patrol. The 1760 Registry of Town Lots shows him with Stainford's Division, E8, and the same year of registration, 36-acre lot. Okay, in certain peninsula. First drawing of 300-acre lots in 1763, First Division. He made a small money donation toward the building of church in 1770-71 on June 1784. That was right around the same time that my great-grand, holy shit, that my great-Grammy's brother died. Oh, gosh. Hang on. Right here. I do apologize for this. I was just looking for something. Because I had his I had his will. But, you know, right here, thank you. Right here. And it was dated March 9th, 1784. And probated May 24th, 1784. Which meant that he died 2 months after he made his will, roughly. Because (300 acres lots in 63). The small money donation in 1784. He had a township grant of 360 acres. 30th March 1789, he filed trespass of debt charges in the inferior court of common pleas, Lunenburg against George Knuckle and Henry Meisenhower, or I can't pronounce that word. Sorry, I'm like, don't take that as, both of whom confessed and paid their debt. His name appears on the 1756 Lunenburg cattle drive list. Okay, 1756 was the year that the bouteiller brothers' brother was born. Sources: Win the Hopf, Roth. Oh, okay. Marriage. Mary John Elizabeth Lunenburg, second marriage for both. Second marriage for both. She's 7 to 8 months pregnant when they wed. Well, I never read that before, but surprising, hey? First wife for Frederick. Okay, moving on. In 1791, there had been no murders at Lunenburg since the Micmac Indian raids of the 1750s. Well, the Indian raids, that was actually Cornwallis. And, sometimes when you feel like you have to survive, I know some would take money. But what I'm asking is, like, my great-granddaddy, he was scalped. And he knew this man. And this man was on the Indian Patrol. I'm not holding a grudge or anything like that. Because I'm not saying that it's just my family. I'm saying it's the people. Wrong was done to the people. Doesn't matter, like, what people, because if you look back, I'll read it here because I think it's here. Since the 1750s. In the early morning, rest about of Saturday, the 19th of March, 1791, Nicholas and Joseph of the Second Peninsula saw the Emery House burning across the bay on First Peninsula. The winter of 1790 to 91 had been a cold one. And Clontory and, okay, the last names can't pronounce, were able to cross the inlet on solid ice. When they reached the George's house, the adult man that was said to have been murdered, they found Frederick's charred, clothed remains, but nothing of his wife and granddaughter. A short distance from the house, they discovered Frederick's hat and a pool of frozen blood in the snow. Moccasins tracks were found as well. At this point, the evidence suggested murder, but no one knew for sure. Circumstantial evidence from other witnesses implemented George Frederick and John Bouteiller, both being Bouteiller, who were indicted for making an assault with certain large sticks of no value, which they severally in their hands then and there held. Holy. Upon the said, oh my gosh, I better sit up. Like I see that. Yeah, that's not good etiquette. Not for doing this. Wow, man. It's like it's that part of me that someone's trying, it's like a part of me is trying to read it, but struggling with reading it because they couldn't quite read well. I can sometimes. I just choose not to read most of the time, unless I have to. I'm not like, I mean, you know, when it's not making light of a bad situation. It's almost like seeing the irony of it all. It's just the said Frederick in and upon the head, breast, back, belly, sides, and other parts of the body. This is what I'm understanding. This is circumstantial, right? To say, did they have witnesses? Well, that's what we're going to get to. It may take more time than this. It may take less. Who knows? With certain large, okay, sides and other parts of the body. They then and there, it says they then and there, felicitously, willingly, and their malice afore. Okay, thought derives, times strikes, it beats him. This is where I'm struggling to read it right now. It's saying in here about what it was. And it's saying about how they're describing the brutality of the beating on the belly, the head, and just the whole body in general, of which more mortal strikes, wounded, and bruises, he then and there instantly dead. So it's trying to find out, like I said, because there's one brother that was said to have died the same day as them, but he's nowheres to be found as family in this book. Him and one of his sisters and another brother, they're not in the book. People are trying to find their families. It's unsettling, whether others want to believe it or not. Why do you think you're not sleeping at night? because your body it's beginning to show you truth. It's showing you dreams of something that you were part of or experienced through a form of your own parts of you. Crap. I'm glad I didn't eat youngin. I'm glad I didn't eat onion or garlic or anything. I mean, the garlic wouldn't have been too bad, but I think the onion would have burnt a little bit. So, who knows whose blood that was on the ground? Because at that time, they couldn't check. Okay, this here. Yes, I do. Okay. Well, the Bouteiller brothers pleaded not guilty. That'll summarize that up. Because it's the part of, if you want to know, go look, because you may even find one of your ancestors in there. Because it was, and the rest, I'm just going to sit with it. Because it's not about pointing fingers at anybody. But a lot of people like to believe that, it's the best way of figuring something out. He did it. It's like, it's said that we're in modern times, but we're still looking at similarities. figuring your own self out in order to say you want somebody to understand you. Why don't somebody understand you? Well, I'm going to be honest, because I know that's where I sometimes struggle with understanding myself, is because if you don't understand yourself, how do you expect somebody else to understand you? There's a lot of techniques out there, but they're just not out there in the means of accessible to people of much lower incomes that should be receiving good care, whereas where it's like you're a number. Because, last I knew, I was a name. I had a name. It's like the spirit body experiencing the physical body, and the physical body experiencing the spirit body. And it's like rocky sometimes. So that's when everything gets shifted up, because in the end, in your heart, you'll know. You'll know. Does it sound logic? Common sense? I did read son of a bugger. Heck knows, I probably took it again. I was just searching for something, but I'm allowed to be disorganized sometimes too. We all are. Oh, well, I guess I wasn't. If it comes back, it comes back. I'm so, and there's a picture, like there's monuments out in Lunenburg, up on a hill somewhere. I never got to that yet. I'd like to get to that. And the names on it, the 3 names that stood out to me, and there's another name there too that stood out. So think of it this way. Your families can be filled with Hatfields and McCoys, or some Marriotts and Melvins, or Smith and Joneses, or, Dikototoe. It's that part of looking at it, because you're probably going to find a connection somewhere where it's your related to a part of your family. And I know they say, well, we all know we're related, but I'm saying, go read the story. You read a Bible. Why not read your own? Because if that's what it's telling, sometimes things happen because of a misunderstanding, or because somebody got told something and they twisted it all around. Or even a separation. Could be because, you know, somebody didn't in within the house or church or what have you didn't like because somebody was not sexually adequate, if that was said right. The gender thing, whether you're gay or straight. See, what I read in there was like, you know, someone 8 to 10 months, uh, roughly 8 months pregnant before they got married. So we're all mirrors of each other. We're showing each other our own past histories or different forms of now. It's actually pretty cool because they're just, instead of becoming all excited like all at one, I'm more calm, able to speak in English. And I also speak the other languages too when I want to, which is usually most of the time because I like doing it. And it's not to get used either. Because, oh crap, I leave it out. No, it's making me itchy. It hasn't been easy looking at my family line because I knew something happened, but I didn't know what. And I'm still figuring out. I mean, it's not that it's, well, yeah, it is important because it's finding out what happened. Because in that aspect of that, what I said about a woman being 8 months pregnant, I could relate to that. Yeah, right now, I know I'm slouching and everything. It's like, you know, you guys sit up straight. No, we're just kidding. It's sometimes it happens if you're channeling because you kind of go you experience it within your body in different ways. I was looking again. Excuse me. Oh, shit. Anyone who's bearing with me, I really appreciate it. I thought about this before and I stopped myself and thank you. This is the one who first come down. The one that was scalped. Jean George Besançon was also known as Jean George Besançon, spelt with a Z. He was born 1708 at Montbéliard. He married Jenna. Before 1733. George Besançon and Jenny immigrated on 16th May 1752 to St. George's Island, Halifax, Nova Scotia, aboard the Jean George Besançon, aboard Speedwell. On the passenger list, he is described as 44 years old, from Montbéliard, and a farmer. Jean George Besançon became a widower when Jenna died, either as the Speedwell neared Halifax Harbor or soon thereafter on St. George's Island, for she was buried in Halifax. Jean George Besançon was on the visual list in Halifax between 30th October 1752 and December 24th, 1752. Son of a bitch! You fuckers! You someone. He moved to lot number 36, Lunenburg. In 1753, George Besançon is listed as the owner of Northwest Range, lot A36, in Christopher Young's copy of the Registry of 30-acre lots, June 10th, 1760. I'm not going to go deep in this right now. He married Catherine Bouteiller on May 20th, 1753, at St. John's Anglican Church, Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. She was 29. Jean Besançon died in 1755. Well, they have this dude. Sorry, excuse me. I shouldn't say this dude. That was very inappropriate of me to say that. Oh, yes. Right here. Oh. Oh, shit. Crap. Sorry. Oh, okay, right. Okay. Oh, Catherine Bouteiller, because that's who he married. That's who they're talking about. My seventh Great Grammy. They have a different year, but it's only like 2 years off. A year, somewhere around there, because, like I said, they were getting dates straight. Most of the time on purpose. It's saying that on February 16th, 1751, she married John, a Jonas guy. Okay. And when I looked her marriage up to other people, it was shit. Yep. It was a different last name even to this guy, because she had married Catherine actually married 3 times. She married a guy up in France, where they're from, and in here it said that this guy died in Lunenburg in October 1755, and here it's saying that my seventh great granddaddy died in 1755. This book was written by a doctor, he has that's a doctor, a PhD. But all the stuff that I looked at, but see, I'm not saying that it's not happening on either side. See, I never thought my entire life that I was ever going to be directed towards doing something like this. I knew that I was here for a reason, but I never knew the reason. And maybe this is just part of my reason, because I know that I don't want to be doing this my whole life. I want things sorted out. I want to be creating. But it's like my eighth great granddaddy and this guy's father, Samuel, would have known each other. And when you look throughout different stories, that part of, it's like we're all telling the same story. Just different masks, different names. I stay home a lot because I don't want people to feel like I'm judging them, because that's not what I'm doing. It's that part of I'm trying to understand. And, we're all here to help. But, sometimes we all a little bit too much of the good stuff. Yeah. You have too much of the good stuff and you forget how to live with the simple stuff. Not saying it's wrong to purchase things. Yeah, I just heard, I'm going to buy me a hog. And that's kind of how I heard it. But there is a reason why I don't eat ham. Well, why don't you come up here? They said, okay. You don't want up here now? Come on. You're welcome. Get over here. Be my little fur ball. 222 on the timer as I said that. So I guess for now, I'm going to leave it there. But, he wants me to read this first. Another source says that Jean George died in 1756 at Lunenburg. On July 10th, 1988, at Audiocourt, France, near the city of Montbéliard. Unveiled a Nova Scotia. Unveiled a memorial dedicated to the 431 foreign Protestants, something like that. Protestants. And if you want to make fun of somebody who's reading, seriously, maybe that's why a lot of kids quit. But some people wouldn't care because they just bully too much. Maybe you have your own speech impediment or, something you're not good at. Many of these Montbéliardins were among the founding settlers of Lunenburg on June 8, 1753. George and his family are considered founders of Lunenburg, and the family name appears on the monument. He and his line were being researched by Dorothy Bezanson as of 1990 from Bezanson, Nova Scotia, by Dorothy F. Jean George died in 1755. His daughter, Suzanne Catherine, was born after his death. She was pregnant when he got scalped. After his death, widow named Eleanor Marriott. What the fuck? Well, that's wrong. Oh, her widow. Sorry, her widow. Okay, yes. Sorry. My 7th great Grammy did marry him. Yes, okay. Okay. Widower with sons on January 1st, 1756, and subsequently had survival children by her second husband. Jean George Bezanson was among the foreign Presbyterian settlers who were recruited in Europe to populate the province of Nova Scotia in the 1750s. His first wife died on the journey as the small ship Speedwell neared Halifax Harbor, or immediately following the docking, for she was buried in Halifax. For almost a year, these settlers were held on George's Island before being settled in Lunenburg. Jean George wrote a lengthy petition to the governor, begging him to get them off this godforsaken island. Jean George was first granted land in what is now the town of Lunenburg, but traded his lot for one further down the coast, where he died in 1755. It is unproven history which says that he was scalped by Native Americans in his town dooryard, view of his wife, and held a baby in his arms. Okay. What I was getting when I channeled that was that he was trying to protect some youth. And I was channeling here one night when I first started coming. I could, it was like it was all coming out of me, out of my mouth. Help us, hide. But it was a lot of different languages, and all intertwined with English and everything. And that's all I could hear was the cries and the calls out. Call it. And holy crap. I had a guy the other day tell me that it's hard to understand. Because people don't look into something using the heart. And the heart and mind together. And I do it a lot of the time. You know, sometimes my heart just, it's like, and I can be like, just, I may come off as angry or aggressive. I'm frustrated within myself because I understand it and I don't understand why other people don't understand it. So I can see where you guys are coming from. Whether you're my family or just some random person on social media or platforms or whatever it is. I always encourage people, you know, tell your story. But as you're telling it, actually take the time to look through it. It was like I had a dream one night. Oh man. It was, and they end up feeling so real. Did you ever notice that? And no matter what dream, do you ever fly? Do you ever fly in your dreams? Well, it's true. We can actually levitate. It's just getting your body to that lightweight. You know, it gives you the adrenaline to kind of just slow everything down and just relax it. But it's not about revenge. Because of who lied on who. Because, you know, everybody was doing some lying. I was actually last night, I was frustrated, and I was going to do a video about a hypocrite who lies by omission. Really, it's like really they don't like that. You know, when they tell it, like they say you lied by omission, but when they're lying by omission all the time and they get caught. They're not lying by omission. They just don't admit to it either way sometimes. Because as I'm going through this, I see parts of what happened within the bouteiller family. It was like different things, and it wasn't that they were all to blame for it, because there was certain ones. So it's getting to the truth of what really went down all that time. And when you figure that out, then like within your own family, then you'll see where it all where it originated from. Your ancestral line of what you are carrying. I know I should sit up straight, but you know, it's like oh. It's like no, oh, I just like crack in the back. It's just like, but maybe I just need a little better chair. My younger sister, she does that. She just sits there and she goes like that. And when I just did that, I swear it was a virgin hour. It's like, you know, we all do have good points too. If you look, it would have outweighed all the other stuff if we had sorted it out at first. But you know, it doesn't always happen that way. For anyone, because everybody's always experienced it at least once. Sometimes you know, you had the deja vu. Well, this is like clicking me to see what I experienced through my own life. Because, like I said, the man that was said to have been murdered was the godfather of the ones that the Bootler brothers that were said to have been the murderers. But looking, it's like the bouteiller brothers had property. So I'm saying, what was it over? Because when I look at when I was 9, I was raped by someone I knew. And it usually happens within the family. And I'm not just saying, like, I'm not talking this in my immediate family. But I already put this out there. Like, my parents didn't find out till a year later. And then my dad found him. And he shoved him up against the truck. And, well, I mean, he would have been angry, and my grandfather come and stopped him. Told him, no, come on. Like, let's call the police. They called the police. And I got 2 years. Maybe he's confessing. Because I got, is that part of the 2 years probation and had to see a psychiatrist. But 7 years later, he did it to someone else within the family. So it was that, it's that part of, did something happen? Did this, like, was it a part where, somebody was forcing themselves on someone? And they started getting aggressive with them? And then, accidentally maybe killing them? I fought. And then I went and I grabbed someone else and marched out of the room while he was masturbating behind me. So it's that part of relating, like, where does things fit in? Did it happen to her? Did something happen accidentally? Because it's that part of doing something differently and actually seeing it. The PTSD is your memories, okay? And it's all in bits and pieces. It's like you're all seeing oracles. It's just all in different pieces. It forms in your dreams and in what you see and in visions or your everyday life or anything like that. It's putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And do a whole lot of cross-referencing because holy shit, man. But when every bit of paperwork that I have, it shows to my 7th and 6th grade granddaddy. And then I was looking in one line for my grandmother and my grandfather, and in that part of it, it has my grandfather's, wait, my grandfather's father, I believe it was. He was missing in the line of the children, kind of like where my Great Grammy. No, not my Great Grammy, but one of I got it written down. Georgine's sister, the one from 56. Yeah, because in the book, Catherine Marie Elizabeth Bouteiller, 1753 to 1849 is missing. Catherine Bouteiller, 1761 to 1814 is missing. And John Jacques Bouteiller, he died he was alive from 1770 to 1791, and he's the one I said that is said to have been died the same day, but when you look in the trial, there's no say about him. So I am going to leave it there. It should be. Because doing this, it was actually informative for me too. Because there were things in there I didn't know. But in here, it was saying about the amount of immigrants that were coming over at the time. It was talking about the same thing of what people are talking about right now. I don't know. Yep, talking to myself, but not. Ah, okay. The settlers of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia have been referred to collectively as the foreign Presbyterians, and 18th century term for non-British immigrants who settled in British North America during the 1750s. Among the 1,453 foreign Protestants who settled at Lunenburg in 1753 were 212 people in 66 families from the Principality of Montpellier, Montpellier in German. A small French-speaking Lutheran territory, part of the Holy Roman Empire and subject to the Catholic Duke of Lunenburg. The principality, surrounded by France on three sides, bordered the Swiss Confederation on the southeast. Moldavarians were Lutheran, while they logistic Protestants compatriots in France were Huguenot in the Calvinist tradition since 1793, when the principality was seized by revolutionary France. Mullard as part of French Republic. Wow, reading makes your lips go dry. It's like, yeah, taking a break. Part of the French Republic. When the British Crown decided to settle Nova Scotia for foreign Protestants to offset the Catholic Acadian population, Lutherans from Mollard were among the Swiss German, and Swiss French families who came to Halifax, Nova Scotia in 1750 and 1752, and later to the newly established township Lunenburg. Ethnically, the second largest group in Lunenburg, and the Moldarians composed about 13% of the population in 1753 and 14% in 1760. In contrast, the German were 69.5% of the population in 1753. The Swiss Germans 8%, the Swiss French 4.5%, and the British 2.5%. Like their German neighbors, Moldarian settlers came to Nova Scotia willingly attracted by the offer of free land. 50 years before head of household, with 10 additional acres per dependent to the farmers and Asherans, such an offer the opportunity to leave behind the semi-feudal landholding system and other systematic economic problems. For Lutheran Moldarians, subject to a Catholic overlord religion was also a factor. The British effort to recruit foreign Protestants to Nova Scotia was successful, but Crown authorities in Halifax found themselves unprepared to handle large numbers of immigrants. Uncertainties about the Acadian and the Micmac Indians prevented the Crown from placing the new colonists in settlements among the Acadian population, which had been the original intention. The authorities housed them temporarily in Halifax and put them to work on public projects to pay for their passage to Nova Scotia. As the situation became intolerable, the foreign Protestants petitioned to be settled somewhere permanently. The governor finally decided to create a foreign Protestant settlement rather than risk dispersing them among the Acadians. The Crown examined 2 locations. So right away, it sounds like, they got divided again. In settlements among the Mi'kmaq Indians, settlement among which had been the original intention. The authorities housed them temporarily in Halifax to work public projects. Foreign petitions. The governor finally decided to create a foreign settlement rather than in risk of, a settlement. What are reserves? Yeah. from the Crown examined 2 locations, Muscatawbit on the eastern shore and Mirligish on the south shore. The latter region was close for its harbor and its agriculture potential. The foreign Presbyterians transported aboard government vessels from Halifax arrived on the forest shores of Milgush in May and June 1753. Okay. Okay. See, I don't know if it just sounded like my phone beeping off. So that okay. Right now, I'm just gonna stop because the way that was happening, okay, and they say like you're not having auditorial hallucinations. If you hear something, it's trying to explain something to you or trying to tell you something. It's kind of like a form of a message. So I'm going to leave it there. It's like a lot of people, they like to hear about history, and I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm asking the questions because it sounds so familiar. And a lot of people can probably relate to a lot of it, whether it be one way or on one side or the other. Or the other, or the other. So, yeah, I have a little table here. Kisa tu po yesha la kisenum. Yeseko tu toyetai. Kila hatara. Isukoroman. Sesho la kiserum. Kisara tui. Itukuru tutoi. Kisa isukoroman. Yeah, it's like, oh, what is this telling me right now? See, this is the part where it's you start getting a message, okay? And the foreign Protestants transported aboard government vessels from, okay, The Crown survey land grants of the town lost during the early summer, while the military supervised settlers in building palisades and houses. Severely laid out small garden lots to east of the town set and 597 30-acre farm lots to the west and south along Migalish Bay, Mahone Bay, and the Lahave River. The 30-acre lots were short of 50 acres promised. But even the raising tensions in the 1750s between the French and English, the township's reduced size made sense for security reasons. In 1760s, after eliminating the French menace to British North America, menace, MENACE, to British North America, the Crown fulfilled the promise and granted 300-acre lots to the remaining Lunenburg settlers by lottery. So there's creating another feud to fight over land. Because it was by a lottery. But weren't they all promised land? That's what I was under the impression. And after I do, I will Okay. Now, keep a date in mind and see if this hits you. Okay, not yet. During the 1760s, the township received an additional 100,000 acres above the original land grants, totaling more than 1,800 acres of 1753. The Lunenburg settlers' first decade was difficult. They were dependent on the Crown for provisioning until 1758, in part because of Micmac raids on Lunenburg during the 7 Years' War. Now, 1758, did I not say that the one that was said to have been murdered, he was a private in the Indian Patrol? And it was said that my great-granddaddy was scalped by an Indian. And I said, was it a friend? During the 7 Years' War, 1756 to 63. And 1756 was when it was said that my seventh great granddaddy got scalped. After several such raids on outlying farms and islands, many settlers left the community along while others withdrew temporarily to Lunenburg town for protection. With the end of hostilities in British North America in 1759 to 60, the community stabilized and grew. Many settlers proposed during the war for American independence. Demand for foodstuffs and other goods in the provincial capital brought cash into the local economy. Frederick the man that was killed, and he was born in 1724. He was born right around the same time George Bouteiller, the father of the father of the Bouteiller brothers. Probably did well during the Revolution. According to the 1770 Lunenburg census, the average farmer in Lunenburg had grown about 35 bushels of grain in 1769, an amount above the minimum requirement for family survival in colonial America, according to the historian Betty Prout. While I can't pronounce it. While the average Lunenburg grand farmer grew on average 35 bushels of grain. Frederick, the man said to have been murdered, grew 110 bushels to support a family of 5 on his 30-acre farm. Clearly, he produced a remarkable surplus. As with the Delares, next is 1093. Well, that's it. If you read in that, I don't. Local records do not always include the deaths of members of the or I can't pronounce his last name, family. Since survival do not appear in the church records after their births. What the fuck? Okay, seriously. Yes, so to him. Okay. I'm actually going to leave it there. Okay. I got 2 here. He who loses, he who loses wealth loses much. He who loses a friend loses more. But he that loses his courage loses all. Is that part of when you I call my ex. I went there for quite some time. It would come on my mouth. I call my ex-husband a coward. Because I seen him allow people walk all over him a lot of the time. I mean, it was I see my I don't know if it's I'm thinking, crap, man. I'm thinking it must be my great granddaddy, my 6th great granddaddy, that he had a medium tell me that I'm not saying he per se, but they told me that a grumpy old man attached himself to me between my age of, little. And it's ironic because I can I can see both of the struggles, because like the way it goes down, like I think of my mom side, and then I think of my dad's side, and it's like, holy shit, man, this is still fucking going on. But that's what happens. It goes on within us, and that's why we don't know why we get angry all of a sudden. We just feel something. We feel kind of enraged. But like I said, if you're watching my videos and if you're getting a feeling off it, because all this stuff that I bring is more like it's more for spirit to spirit, opposed to specific or individuals. It's a spirit to spirit, because like I said, they're all parts of spirits, so we're experiencing it, and it's pretty weird. So to believe a thing is possible is to make it so. And it's that part of you have free will, but it's thinking first, like looking at it from a whole perspective, all sides. But I also know that everything happens for a reason. Yeah. It's what you think. Oh my gosh, my nose is going to be sore. But anyways, I want to thank you for coming in. I said before, my channel is not for everyone, and that's okay, because I know that the right people will get this message. Our families, even, I know that people that are going to be, that would feel pissed off and aggravated. I understand that, because I've experienced it kind of on both sides, because I've seen both sides of what transpired within family. It's not just that family, like it's coming outward, and seeing the overall picture. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, and most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, be who you are, not who somebody else says you have to be or you are. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and know that you have more strength. And when I say like to accept and receive, it's those parts of, if you're not willing or ready to heal yet, then any type of forms of healing will become difficult and challenging. I just bit my tongue. And, I can relate to that. So I'm sending you all love. Hope you all had a great weekend. And see you. Sleep well.